Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, a podcast discussing meditation, the near-death experience, spiritually inspirational and transformative experiences. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. I'm your host, author, and teacher, Jay Spillers. I have Malachi with me. Malachi, why don't you tell the audience about yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Malachi Mott. I'm creative. I'm an artist. I'm a music producer, and I help people to look within and really figure out what the source of their power is, so that they can actually have success with their careers, usually creative careers.
Mm-hmm. And so, how do you do that?
Okay, a lot of different ways. So my mission is to empower artists to create art the world deserves. And typically what I do is I listen to people who are, maybe they have a writer's block or some kind of artist block, and they're not able to bring their art to fruition. And I listen to what the issue is, where they're at, what their resources are, what resources they don't have. And I help them come up with a plan to get from point A to point B, while at the same time kind of empowering their confidence, because someone who doesn't believe that they can succeed won't succeed no matter how much resources they have. So one of the things I'm realizing is the inner work is more important than the work on the outside. So that's where I'm shifting my energy these days, is helping people bring the confidence out by knowing who they are deep down within.
I know you do like a lot of meditation, affirmations, breath work, things like that.
Right. So the newest thing that I've put out for people, it comes out October 10th, actually. It's an affirmation album called The Art of Affirmation. I've been using one by a guy named Robert Christensen. He made a meditation called The Gift. And I've been using that with my students, I'm going to say, for the last 2-3 years, because it really worked for me. And it's 16 minutes, and it's every area of your life and creating every area to the highest degree. And I've prescribed that to a lot of different people, but most people that I give it to, they dismiss it. So what I've noticed is, if I don't create something that's more fun, more accessible to the average person, then people will never actually get to meditation at all. If you came to my room and I said, hey, I really think meditation is the answer for you, the odds are pretty good that you're just going to like brush it off and go about your way and try to find some other way to solve the problem. So I am covertly figuring out how to get people to meditate. And the easiest way is to start with entertainment. And once they step their foot into that, then step their foot one further into affirmation, and then one further into just meditating 24, like just throughout the day. So I meditate pretty much all day. It's one way that I'm able to just stop, center myself, and then come back. And it's something, like I said, I recommend it to everyone. And only, I would say, 10 to 15% of the people that I talk to about it actually go, well, tell me more about that. I am interested. So my goal is to open that 10, 15% to maybe 30%, then maybe 40%. The more people that I think take it on, the better the world will be.
Well, how do you make it entertaining for them?
It's a good question. I have to get to know what is entertaining to them. And then the second thing is creating it so that it's fun, kind of like what we do with children. You know, you want kids to learn their ABCs, you make it into a song that rhymes and has the same melody as Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. You kind of can trick them into learning their ABCs if you do it that way. So what I did was, with this album that's coming out, I used the sounds and the feels that I think would work the best for the people I'm targeting it for. And then I use topics and things that I think would make them be like, oh, this is a regular song. And that way the verses are affirmations, but they're complex. And then the hook is a very simple affirmation that just repeats over and over again. And then the bridge is, I used different voices to explain what the affirmation is and why, and how it will impact your life. So when you listen to it, it's clever. It's got like funny punchlines. It's something that you could just listen to and it doesn't feel like work. Essentially, that's my goal, is to make things not feel like work.
Hmm. So it'd be like kind of like if someone was into sci-fi, you'd find a way to incorporate sci-fi themes into like a meditation kind of.
I am writing that down now. That is a great idea. Sci-fi themed meditations. Yes, but that is one way to do it. You want to speak the language of the people. Whoever it is that you want to influence, if you can speak their language, like you start. So a lot of people go, all right, I'm at a 1, they're at a 10. I'm going to go 2 or 3 and try to get there. No, you need to go all the way to 10, grab them, and then come back to 1. So if someone's into sci-fi, I go over and I hang out with them and I speak sci-fi for a while. And then as I'm speaking sci-fi, I get access to how I can pull them to where I want them to go. If that does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah. So like, do you have like meditations on YouTube or anything like
I
that?
have I have a few on Insight Timer. Actually, let me give you the titles of them. Some of them are pretty cool. I've got one on, actually I can remember them. I have one on setting up your artistic session. So before you actually sit down to do your art, you sit with this meditation. It gets you in the right mindset and the right feel, so that way you can carry it out. I have one about getting over writer's block, and one about getting out of imposter syndrome. Right. And my goal is, if someone really resonates with it, they're like, man, I really have writer's block. They go on there and Google writer's block and it pops up. They can listen to it over and over again until eventually they're like, you know what? I get it. I'm powerful. And it's really just affirmations inside of calm energy, peaceful energy, so that the inner gets peace and then the out can then work. I just did a new one about creativity, creative confidence. And what I mean by creative confidence is when you sit down to do the work, the percentage that you think you're going to succeed is very important. If you think, oh, this is going to succeed no matter what, you're going to do very well. If you think this isn't going to succeed no matter what, it won't do well at all. Most people are between 30 and 60%. They're like, oh, this might be good. This could potentially turn, and that mindset doesn't help you create something powerful. You really want to be confident in your ability to create.
Hmm. So like, what got you into meditation initially?
I had a very progressive church. I went to Unity Church of Christianity. It was founded, I think, in the 70s. And in hindsight, I would say they probably were just a bunch of hippies. But everything was metaphors. And they told me, until I learned every religion, I would not truly understand God. So that set me on a path of looking at all the different religions and what they were preaching and what was going on. Hold on. Got to sneeze. Never mind. Now it doesn't want to come out. So, checking out all the religions, I started to notice meditation was one that is pretty much in every single one. And my church did have us practicing meditation, but it wasn't consistent. And once I got to other ones that had it consistent, it was just a thing. I started noticing the impact that it had on my body and on my mind and on my well-being. So I started practicing doing it more often. I've done maybe 6 or 7 different types, like disciplines of meditation, and really they're all the same. It's just really sitting in this, being okay with the silence and being in the silence. I see it as a way of like defragmenting my hard drive, removing the things that aren't working so that the brain can work even better. My favorite type of meditation, believe it or not, is I shoot hoops by myself for probably 30 to 45 minutes. I find that the amount of concentration needed to hit like a 3-pointer means that nothing else can be going on in my mind. So I have to empty my mind. And at first, I'm missing all the shots. Within 10 minutes, I start sinking them. After 30 minutes, I'm making almost every shot, but also my mind is calm because it has to be. And I find that there is no problem that I could have that 50 swishes can't fix. That's what I always say. No problem that 50 swishes can't fix. And I'll go there and I'll have like, oh, this problem with my job is happening. This problem in my family with my girlfriend. Doesn't really matter what it is. By the time I'm done shooting, I have all the solutions. They just magically appear. And I think that the human brain is something that is monumentally capable of anything. The only thing that gets in the way is all the excess thoughts and all the excess pressure and all the excess weight. So if you remove all of that, your brain just works like a supercomputer and it solves everything for you.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like a time where you sit down and meditate, like a formal meditation
I do a
practice?
few. So every morning I wake up at 9:15, and at 9:30 I'm on Zoom with a friend of mine, and we meditate together over Zoom. We'll pick a meditation from YouTube, and her question is always, "What do you need today?" So today I needed energy. I was a little exhausted from the weekend, so I said I need energy. So we look up meditations for energy, and we sit with it. And some of them really, really work. Some of them not so much. So that's one. I start my day off with meditation, and I do it with a partner that helps with accountability, but it also helps with creating. What do you need today? So that way I'm more intentional. So it creates intentionality. So accountability and I think intentionality are very important if you really want meditation to work in your life. So after talking to her and doing the meditation, I go about my day. Around lunchtime, I do another one. I sit down, I go, all right, what do I need? But I usually do those ones just by myself. And pretty much in between every task, I'll take a second to do a quick check-in with my entire body. I start at the top, I work all the way down. I make sure everything feels good. I see if there's any spaces in my body where there's energy stuck, and I move it around and get it moving. And then I sit. And then once I'm complete, I go back to the next task. I literally do that in between every task. I don't know. I think that just happens slowly over time, but I started noticing that each task gets completed better. It's kind of like tying your shoes before you run. You want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success for every task that you do. And I find that meditation is one of the best ways to do that for me.
Mm-hmm. So, like, your whole life is kind of like a meditation. Like, you find ways to focus on things. Like, I mean, do you even like if you're drinking coffee or something, do you focus on the coffee and meditate
Wow.
on that
I
using
think
your
I do.
senses or something?
I think I do. Yeah. I think everything is beautiful if you take your time with everything. And if you're eating something and you sit there and you enjoy the sound of the fork clinking against the plate, the first touch of the food to your lips, and you're really focusing on all of that. That to me, I think is a form of meditation because you have to be so focused that nothing else can live in your mind. So yeah, I think being intentional with everything you do, you're making me realize I probably meditate literally all day. I'm very intentional. Everything. I was not like this before. So that's the only reason why I know that it's possible for everyone is I was not like this before. Before I just had chaos in my mind all the time. But I'm at a place now where I can get to that space of nothing very quickly just because it's a practice. Everything is a practice, and every day I'm getting better and quicker, and it's becoming more natural to me. And I would love everyone to have this power. I think it's a superpower. I don't know if I could just put it in a pill and give it to people, I would, but that's not possible. So hopefully the next best thing is talking about it on podcasts and sharing with other people in the world that this is possible, and showing the impact that it has had on my life.
You're listening to the Inspire Me with Jay podcast. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, bringing hope and inspiration to the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, to some extent, does it take time, you think? Like, obviously you can meditate for a minute and get some benefit, but like, to get maximum benefit, do you have to go for 20, 30 minutes or more? Is there
That's
a
a good
connection
question.
between that?
Well, I think I'm going to use the metaphor of like working out. If you do a quick 10-minute, high intensity, high interval training, whatever it's called, a HIIT workout, you can get a lot of benefit. You don't have to run a marathon. In fact, running a marathon could potentially hurt your body, right? I think that you need to ask yourself, what does your body need? What does your mind need? And then come up with the amount of time that makes sense. If you're a busy person that doesn't have space for 20-minute meditation, don't beat yourself up about it. Just do 1 minute here, 1 minute there. Just do whatever makes sense. And then if you can make it 2 minutes next time, make it 2 minutes. I don't think that there's any steadfast rules. I think a lot of people force themselves to go from 0 minutes to 20. And I think it makes more sense to start with 30 seconds and then move that to a minute, then move that to 2 minutes, and then 4, and slowly work up to 20. But honestly, I don't see the benefit to doing 20-minute meditations just to do them. You really have to have an intention, I think. Like, why? Like, for you, what do you think? Do you do 20-minute meditations?
Well, I usually do like one 40-minute meditation in the middle of the day. But like sometimes I do like little meditations throughout the day too.
That's fair. So when you do the 40, are you meditating for the whole time, or do you come out of it and go back in and come out and go back in?
I generally stay the whole time, and I use like music and things like that, and I do some breathing and I do visualizations. I kind of like I have a mixture of different things that I do.
Okay.
Like you might um, focus on different things, like if you have an inspirational thing you're thinking about or love or I don't like have a set pattern. Like I don't do like one style of meditation per se. I just kind
Same.
of blend things. I'm eclectic. Yeah.
Same. I think we're very similar in that way. I don't really, I do whatever makes sense for the day. If I don't have a day where I can do a 10-minute meditation, I don't. Another thing is right before I eat, like a lot of people say grace. I use that
Mhm.
as an opportunity to meditate really quickly. I'll do gratitude first. I'll say one thing that I'm grateful for that I have not said that I'm grateful for yet. So like I can sit and say, I'm grateful that my body heals as fast as it does. And I sit with that for like a good 10, 15 seconds. And I think, I feel like up and down my body, all the healing that it's done. Then I eat. So what that is called habit stacking. So I put a habit, so have a habit of eating food, right? And then stack that onto that. Now I'm meditating every time I eat food. So that's one specific way that I meditate all day, every day, consistently. Now, if you did that with like every time you put on shoes, say, I'm grateful for all the places I've been, and sit with and think about all the places you've been. That's another way to habit stack. I just made that one up, but that's how easy it is. You could literally make up all kinds of ways to meditate and be with the space that you're in.
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of like it's easy, obviously, to get distracted, and that happens from time to time. But it sounds like when you do the basketball, shooting the hoops, you're kind of like getting in the zone, and when you get in the zone, then it's like you get less distracted.
Right. I think having the goal of having the ball go through the hoop gives me something to work towards, versus when I first started meditating and my mind would wander, I'd make myself wrong. And then I'd be in a quick like I'd be fighting, going, oh no, I need to be focused. I need to, I need to do this. And now I have another conversation in my head. So I just created another conversation. The basketball happened organically. I didn't realize that it was going to become a form of meditation until I left the court and I went to have a meeting, and someone acknowledged me for how calm, and they're like, man, this is like a really stressful meeting, but you were like really calm. And I was like, wow, maybe I should shoot hoops before my meetings more often. And that's when I started to make it an intentional thing that I was doing. So if you could find something, like knitting was one of those for me as well. During the pandemic, I learned how to knit, and you have to just be with it and focus, and your brain just stops running, and then you can just be with it. So it doesn't really matter what it is, just something that has a goal. I think it'll make someone who isn't good. If you don't think you're good at meditation, all you need is a goal that will force you to actually have to clear your mind.
Yeah, my wife likes likes knitting. That's one of the things that she does a lot.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like, hey, I can't wait to have a scarf. It's the process of actually being with it. Your brain just gets to turn off. I like washing dishes. Like, that's something most people will never say. But for me, as long as there's nothing that's going to stop the flow, I don't have to think. I can turn my brain off. And my brain is like, great, you're being productive, so we don't mind turning off. As long as you're being productive, we'll turn off for you. So I can just wash, and there's nothing going on in my mind. And then when I'm done, I feel like I've slept for an hour.
Is that kind of like when you talk to different clients? Is that kind of something you try to get them to do? Is just to pick an activity and then focus and just kind of get into it?
That's interesting. So I do teach, so we call it flow, right? So the flow is the state you're in which you're not thinking. There's just going from one task to another. You're just flowing. And I do look, what is stopping the flow for this person, right? I don't talk to them about it, because once you talk about it, then they're aware of it, and then they start to change what they're saying. So I look and I go, all right, what's stopping the flow? I remove the things that are stopping the flow first, and then I let them do it again. Then after they do it again, I talk to them and I start looking for, okay, what are the rewards that they're getting from the task? And then I try to set the rewards up so that they're in an interval that allows you to not be able to think. Does that make sense? I've never actually worded that out loud.
Yeah. Well, are most of your clients in person or online or a mixture?
It's a mixture, yeah, depending on the chapter. I taught at 2 different schools, and the first school had a mentoring component. So every student had a mentor every week for 10 weeks, and then they'd get a new mentor for 10 weeks. And they'd end up with 4 different mentors over the course of a year. And I applied because I'm good at mentoring, so I did that. So for that, I think I was doing 20 to 25 students every quarter, and I got to see the inner workings of their brain the entire time, and came up with a plan from day one so that on the 10th week, they'd just be flowing all the time. So that was in person. And then I also taught the online program. So eventually I started going online with it and teaching their program online. And once I saw that I could do it online, I started finding other ways of doing it online. I joined another school called 1500 Sound Academy, and they would have 2 hours of class, and then they'd have break for an hour, and then they have 2 hours of lab. But really, lab for online was they just come back and talk to me for 2 hours. So I did do it online. I found out I could do that as well. I've created an event called the Creative Awakening, and I created that in 2019. And it's an event to show adults how creative they already are. Because a lot of people say, oh, I'm not very creative. And that always bugged me. So I created an event that helps people get in flow. And actually, the inspiration for the event was a friend of mine has an event called Flow Fam. And really what it was Toastmasters, but for freestyling. So Toastmasters is public speaking. So he said, what if we did that, but I showed people how to freestyle? So he creates a circle and everyone gets in a circle. And no one's been a rapper. This is brand new people. They're very nervous about it. And he starts from the inside out, just going da 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 with no words at all. So that way people are like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. And then eventually it makes it a little more complex. And then the next thing you know, they're flowing and showing that they can go in and doing and it's like, whoa, how did you get from one to the next? So I reverse engineered that, and I made that for painting, and I made that for bracelet creation, vision boarding. I have a bunch of different activities. So this is one way that I have. And what's cool about the event is everyone's meditating the whole time. You see people sitting there and they're just in the flow, and you can see that their mind is quiet, and it's like the best thing to see. So that's something that is going to be available all over LA pretty soon, and then hopefully I'll be able to do it in other cities as well.
Have you ever wanted to learn to meditate? Check out my book, Meditation for Everyone: How to Quickly Have a More Peaceful, Mindful, and Fulfilled Life, and support this channel. With Meditation for Everyone, you will learn to quickly and easily meditate, relieve stress and anxiety, alleviate depression, and have more joy, peace, and relaxation. What you will learn: mindfulness, the art of stillness, step by step on how to meditate, strategies for overcoming challenges to meditation, and much more. D. Mason said this is a nice meditation book, even for those already meditating. I agree with the statements that it will help to have a more peaceful, mindful, and fulfilled life. 4.6 star rating, available on Amazon.
Yeah, it's kind of like, my son's in 6th grade, and he always tensed up about things like creative writing and just really didn't like it. But then it's like my wife connected it to him for something that he likes. Like, well, think about what you do in Minecraft and all the different things you create, and then when you start to, that could be like a starting point to start writing creative, and then you start branching out to other things you like, like you like to write about the dog or this or that, and then it's like, oh, it's really not that hard.
Oh yeah, that good for her. That's a great way to do it. Sounds like she's very good at helping people connect to their flow as well. You really have to connect it to desire. If you don't have a desire to do something, you're never going to get flow. If you don't get flow, you're not going to get to that meditative state. That's the most important thing. Most of the time when like you said, he didn't like creative writing. I bet he always did like creative writing. He just didn't like the way he had been taught creative writing. Right. So like, I'll pick something different. Like, let's say you want to learn the guitar. If someone, better yet, piano. I've seen videos of nuns teaching people piano and smacking people on the back of the hand with rulers. Like, that sounds like the worst way to teach someone piano, because it's like, do what I say or you're going to get punished, right? There's no space for meditation. There's no space for flow. You're just trying to not get in trouble the whole time, and it's this anxiety through the roof, right? Right. Now reverse that, and let's say you're on in a group with people and everyone's just playing random instruments and just having a good time, and there's no pressure to do anything. You can just go over there and play one note on the piano the whole time, and if it feels good, everyone's gonna go, yeah, okay, cool. Now that person is going to be able to sit there for hours and have a great time and flow, and their brain is going to open and be able to take in all the lessons. That's what you really want for educating anybody in anything, to be honest, but specifically for creative things, because the part of the brain that needs to be open only opens when it feels safe, when it feels like there's a desire to actually do the task in front of you.
Mm-hmm. So, like, is that primarily all you do right now? Do you work for just yourself, doing helping clients? in the
I do
flow?
too many things. Yeah, I do too many things. So if I could only do one thing, it'd probably be the event that I was just talking about, the creative event, because I find that that reaches the most amount of people. And it has like a system that makes sense for me right now. Let's see, I do that. I'm working on a website called Sound Better, where I help people to finish their songs, and a lot of that is the technical stuff. Like, oh, here, I know how to fix your vocal. I can do that. But while I'm doing the technical stuff, I'm also reading and understanding what they're really dealing with. And I'll put little nuggets here and there to help them to get more calm, get more centered, be more intentional, whatever it is that I think they need to have. The hard part is people don't ask for help with that. And you can only help people with things that they ask for help with. So if someone comes to me and they're asking for help for like, hey, I need help knowing which microphone to buy, but really what I see that they need is confidence, I can't just help them with the confidence. I have to win their trust by helping them what they asked me for, and then go, hey, can I offer you something? Then I get to offer one thing at a time. So for that reason, I probably wouldn't do that task of helping those people, because it's not going to help with the flow as much as I would like. The creative one, people are going there to learn how to be creative, so that makes more sense. They're already open to the feedback. Let's see, and I think depending on how the affirmation album gets received, I'm definitely going to continue to create more of those, and hopefully that'll bring people to me. I'm creating a course called the Super Producer Boot Camp. Right. And this course is helping specifically music producers to bridge the gap between where their music is and where it needs to be. And most of it is mindset. So this is not for people who are like, oh, just show me how to do it. This is for people that want to understand why it's not working and what shifts they need to make to move themselves out of the way. That's all it is. And so it's a lot smaller of a niche. However, the people who need that know that they need it. Um, that program, the reason why I'm bringing that up is it also translates to just art in general. So I will also create one, same thing, but not for music producers, but for anyone. So I think that that's probably going to be one of the things that I offer that will make the most sense and will become the core of what I do. I'll have a course online, and I'm in the process of building it now, based on everything that I'm doing right now and the people I've helped. I've helped a lot of people, and I'm learning from each chapter what works and what doesn't work. The hardest thing is, like I said, people have to give you consent in order for you to help.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I mean, can people reach out to you?
Sure. Well, what I'll do is my website is malachimott.com, MALACHIMOTT. And if you come to my site, there'll be all the different things that I offer. And then you can even just put your email, and as things come up, I'll send, hey, this is a new offer I have. This is a new offer I have. Yeah, so it's not easy because everyone needs something different. So I can't help everyone, but each chapter I'll have something unique that hopefully will reach a new group of people and help a new group of people. Because once my goal is, I don't want clients for life, right? I want you to come in, get what you need, and then go. Like if I have to help you, 3-4 years from now with the same thing, it means I'm not doing a good job. So my goal is to put these offers out, make it in a way that it really does solve a problem, then find the next problem, solve the next problem. That's my goal.
Mm-hmm. So, like, someone that's, I mean, kind of struggling, where would you um, tell them to start? Like someone out there that wants to get more focused, or maybe start meditating, or where would you tell them to start?
With their happiness, like what makes you happy? Find the thing that makes you happy and sit with it. So for me, it was basketball. Basketball really does make me happy. So I did it in a way that I could sit with it. There was no competition because I didn't have anybody else on the court with me. So I removed all the things that added stress to it. So find what makes you happy and remove as much stress from it as you can so that you can just sit with it. And that would be a great way to start with mindfulness. So drawing was one for me as well. If you draw or mandalas, you know what a mandala is? Okay. Yeah. That's one that like you create a structure and then you don't have to know how to draw. It leads you to making something beautiful every time. So you don't have any stress about like, oh, I don't have the talent. That removes all of that. So if you can remove all of the stress and then just be there and just be able to move the pen or pencil across the paper, you will be in a flow state pretty quickly. So I would say that would be one of the things I would recommend to someone who's starting out.
Well, thanks for coming on today. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks. It was a pleasure to be here. I appreciate it.